Now we're going to look at an easier way of thinking about major chords than doing it the official way. And we'll call this segment the stupidly simple Sibley way to memorizing all your major chords. Now what I taught you was correct in the previous lesson as far as segment, as far as the 1, 3, and 5 of the major scale. That's correct. That's the technical definition. But in real life performance situations, or in church, or you're playing in front of people, pianists do not sit there and think that this is the 1, 3, and 5 of the major scale. They're not, playing in church and saying, amazing. Okay? They're not trying to play it out and figure it out in real time. What they've done is they've memorized their major chords, and you need to as well. Throughout this series, I mentioned to you that I'll teach you the right, legit, textbook way. The right way to think about it, the correct way, the official way. And then I'll always try to give you an easier route to it. Not really a shortcut, but a shortcut to knowing them and a shortcut to memorizing them. And so to make all of the other shortcuts work, you really need to grasp the shortcut. But I think it's going to help. And you need to take time and memorize all of your major chords. So here we go. Okay? And incidentally, when we write a major chord, let's say you want to write to tell someone you're writing an F major chord. You just write the letter F. And so people automatically assume if they see the letter F with no other symbols or anything attached to it, they assume that you mean an F major chord. Or if you were to play or write, a B flat, then people automatically assume that you want a B flat major chord. So to write a major chord is very simple. You don't need to know a lot of notation. You just write the letter down, and you'll see it on lead sheets. You'll see the words, written out, and then you'll see above the words a chord. And if they want a major chord, they'll have like G or B flat or E flat or C sharp or whatever they want. So here we go, the stupidly simple Sibley way to memorizing all your major chords. And yes, you need to memorize all of them. There are 12 technically if you don't count the enharmonics or the other name of a note. Now, what we're going to do in this lesson is I'm going to group this is in your lesson notes, but just kind of ignore your lesson notes for a second and stare at the screen and try to memorize them as I go. I think you can do it in a short time. You're really going to surprise yourself. What I'm going to do is I'm going to group the major chords into groups of, say, 3. So the first group's going to be C, F, and G. That's C major chord, F major chord, and G major chord. C major chord, F major chord, G, C, F, G. I'm going to play them for you. I'm not going to use any kind of correct fingering. I'm going to play them so you can really, really see them on your screen. And I want you to just kind of glance at them, and I want you to think to yourself, what do these have in common? Here we go. Here's a C major chord. Okay? That's a C major chord. And then here's an F major chord. All right? And then here's a G major chord. I'll play them again. C, F, and G. Now, if you're cheating, you've already looked at your lesson notes, you already know the answer. But if you haven't cheated yet, what do they have in common? And what should be kind of coming around your brain is they all look kind of the same. Okay, we have a tertial system of harmony that we use, which is a big fancy word meaning that we play our chords in thirds most of the time, which is a fancy way of saying it's every other note of the scale. You notice that? Skip that one, skip that one. And so these chords are easy to visualize because here we go, they're all white keys. That's what you should have kind of come up with while I was rambling there. So C is all white keys and it's skipping every other note, which means that right now, even if you're a beginner, you can probably recreate that chord quickly. F is the same thing. It's all white keys and it's skipping every other note, so that's pretty easy to see. And G the same way. So you need to ingrain in your mind C, F, and G. They're all white keys, and armed with what they look like, you probably have them memorized already. Now, when you play your major chords, I want you to use your thumb, your middle finger, and your pinky of your right hand, okay? And that's very, very important. If you already play some and you have used another fingering, I want you to do your best to try to undo that. I know that's very, very hard, but we're eventually going to need these fingers to play some more advanced chords. We're going to need them right where they are. So I want you to use your thumb, middle finger, and pinky. Right now, play the chords in your right hand, okay? So let's go back to memorizing the stupidly simple Sibley way of memorizing the major chords. C, F, and G, remember, they had in common, they're all white keys. Now, our next group is going to be D, E, and A, D, E, A. The Drug Enforcement Administration, and that's a stupid joke, but hey, you're going to remember it from now on. D, E, A, okay? And I want to play D, E, and A, the chords of the Drug Enforcement Administration, and I want you to see what they have in common. Here's a D major chord, okay? And again, I'm using not correct fingering just so you can easily see it. This is a D major chord. Okay. Here's an E major chord. Okay. And here's an A, D, E, A. Okay. Again, D major, E major, and A major. Okay. What you should have noticed is they all have a black note. The black note's in the middle. So we'll classify them as white, black, white. And if you know that, it's not too hard to play them. C, F, and G were all white keys. D, E, A, the drug enforcement administration. I know it's dumb and I know it's a horrible joke, but hey, it's permanently ingrained in your head now. So whatever it takes. So D, E, and A is white, black, white. Okay. Okay, so take a second, get those. And when you're ready for more, hit the unpause button. Here we go. C, F, and G, all white keys, which is the stupidly simple, silly way to memorizing all your major chords. And then D, E, A, white, black, white, you've got those. Okay? Now we're going to do the next group is D flat, E flat, and A flat. They're the flat drug enforcement administration. They're the guys across the street. And D flat, E flat, and A flat are the exact opposite of D, E, A. Watch, I'll play. Here's D flat major chord. Here's an E flat major chord. And here's an A flat major chord. Again, D flat, E flat, and A flat. And what you notice is D flat, E flat, and A flat, the flat drug enforcement administration, they're all Oreo cookies. They're black, white, black. Black, white, black, black, white, black, black, white, black. Now, one thing to notice is on D flat, you have two white notes to choose from. And you don't want to do double stuffed Oreos. You don't want to play both of them, okay? Even though I like double stuffed Oreos, just not on my D flat major chord. And if you're sending me Oreos, send double stuff, please. But on the D flat, you have two white notes to choose from. For major chords, always choose the white note to the right. So when you get black, white, black on your D flat major chord, you have two notes to choose from. For major chord, choose the one to the right, okay? E flat, not a problem. You've only got one white note to choose from there between those black notes. On A flat, same situation. You have two white notes in the middle. For a major chord, choose the one to the right. Okay? All right, so you're doing good. We've only got 3 left. So see, you've already memorized them. C, F, and G are all white keys. D, E, A, the Drug Enforcement Administration, is white, black, white. D flat, E flat, and A flat, the flat Drug Enforcement Administration, the guys across the street, black, white, black. And again, when you have two white notes to choose from on those chords, for major chords, choose the one to the right, okay? You're doing good. Now, in life, there's always the weirdo. So music is no exception. So in the major chords, there are some weirdos. And so look in your screen, and without smiling, say, the B's are weird. Come on, say it. I don't care what people around you think, say it. Say the B's are weird. The B's are weird. They are weird, okay? You got to remember that. The B's are weird. You need to look out for them. And I'm not sure what that says about our website because we're bsharptricks.com, but that's another thing. We'll work that out later and get that with the producers. But the B's are weird, okay? So there are 3 weirdos you got to remember, okay? B note, remember the B's are weird. A B note is what color? Ask yourself. Obviously, it's a white note. So because it's weird, it's white, black, black, okay? So the B's are weird, so that kind of tells you kind of follow the pattern. B is a white note, it's white, black, black, okay? The B's are weird. B flat is a black note, and it's black, white, white. So the B's are weird. So B, natural, is white note, so it's white with 2 blacks. B flat is a black note, so it's the exact opposite. It's black with 2 whites. Now, at any time you're having trouble figuring out which notes it were, and I've played them for you, there are basically 2 ways of going about this. One is you can hit rewind on your player and just watch my fingers and see which notes. Or you could go back to your major scale formula, which probably none of you will ever do, but hey, this is what you should do, is go back to your major scale formula and write out, let's say, a B major scale and figure out what the 1, 3, and 5 is. That would tell you, or B flat, okay? But essentially, once you know them, it's easy to recall because you remember the B's are weird. B is a white note, white, black, black. B flat's black, so it's black, white, white, okay? And then the very last one, the very last chord is G flat. And G flat is all black keys, okay? So G flat is this. It's all black keys. He's the only one in the group that way. And so that's easy to remember. You have three weirdos. The B's are weird, and then G flat, which is all black. So let's review. You've already learned them. That's all there is. There's no more to show you. So you're doing pretty good. The C, F, and G major chords share the trait. They're all white keys. Pretty easy. D, E, A, white, black, white. D flat, E flat, and A flat, the flat drug enforcement administration, black, white, black, Oreo cookies. You have two white notes to choose from. You choose the one to the right for major chords. The B's are weird. B is a white note, white, black, black. B flat is a black note, black, white, white. And then G flat is all black keys. Okay? Now, what I want you to do is realize that you say, well, that's not all there is, because you've left out some things. Where's F sharp? Where's D sharp? Well, those are just inharmonics of what we've already learned. For example, we know that G flat, as you've just learned, is all black keys. So if I were to ask you for, or if someone were to ask you, or a song had written F sharp major chord, you would just play a G flat major chord. Same thing. Because just as you had inharmonic notes, or notes with two names, just as you had inharmonic, I told you it was an important word, scales, or scales with two names, now you've got inharmonic chords. So this chord could be called a G flat major chord or an F sharp major chord. Either way, it sounds the same. If I was playing the piano and I had an organ player on the other side of the platform on a church, and if I was playing an F sharp and she was playing in G flat, it would sound fine because it's the same exact basic key. It's just a different way of thinking about it. Okay? So if I were to ask you again for C sharp, you would immediately realize that the inharmonic, or the other name of C sharp, is D flat. And you remember that D flat goes with D flat, E flat, and A flat, the flat drug enforcement administration, black, white, black. And you got it, okay? So stupidly simple, Sibley way to memorizing your major chords.